A school district of the future prepares lifelong learners to demonstrate mastery of 21st century competencies that will equip them for continuous success.
DeKalb County School District is a leader in K-12 and early childhood education and has developed a comprehensive master plan to ensure school improvements are made throughout the DCSD community.
Students can reach their fullest potential and excel when schools are well maintained and capital resources are up to date.
Whether it's state-of-the-art learning spaces, our 7 robotic programs, renovated and innovative schools, or technology devices for every child,
these resources and investments not only benefit the DCSD community, but also the taxpayers of DeKalb County.
A top priority for DCSD is supporting social and emotional skills of young learners and their families, and our Early Learning Center addresses the readiness gap.
Every 5 years, we assess DCSD schools and facilities, technology equipment, and examine construction to address overcrowding and to accommodate growth so that DCSD scholars can thrive. To achieve and excel, we provide technology at your fingertips with anytime, anywhere access, infrastructure enhancements, business system integration, and instructional tools to support top-of-the-line connectivity and cybersecurity, and a family impact hub that meets diverse families where they are.
So, how do we pay for these general improvements to impact student achievement and positively affect the DCSD community?
E-SPLOST is a 1-penny sales tax that allows school districts to fund their capital improvements. The voters of DeKalb County will be asked to extend the 1-penny sales tax for another 5 years. This education special purpose local option sales tax is critical to building our children's future and equipping our community for success.
Good evening, everyone. This is our May 24th, 2023 meeting for the E-SPLOST Advisory Committee. Moving right along to item number 2, review and approval of the May 24th, 2023 meeting agenda. The meeting agenda is before you and has been distributed. Are there any corrections, updates, or any changes? Hearing none, can we, by unanimous consent, agree to the meeting agenda as distributed if there are no objections? Hearing none, the meeting agenda has been approved by unanimous consent. Moving to item number 3, review and approval of the minutes for our April 26th, 2023 meeting. Are there any corrections to the meeting minutes as distributed? Hearing none, can we approve the meeting minutes from April 26, 2023 by unanimous consent if there are no objections? Hearing no objections, the meeting minutes for April 26, 2023 are now approved as distributed. Moving to item number 4, discuss follow-up matters from prior meeting, report on SPLOST items presented at the May 2023 Board of Education meeting.
There were none. There were no SPLOST items presented.
Okay, moving right to item number 5, the contract award list update.
There were none.
Moving to item number 6, review of community feedback collected from the E-SPLOST committee email address.
Madam Chair, we have not received any email correspondence since our last meeting.
Great. Item number 7, the MSR review.
Thank you, Kathy. Good afternoon, folks. Hopefully you can see my screen with the monthly status executive report recap that we'd like to use for our report today, or partial for our report today. Starting with procurement for E-SPLOST 5, no projects advertised, no contracts awarded in the period. For E-SPLOST 5 projects that were advertised for general contractor services include Midvale Elementary and DeKalb High School Technology South. It's a major building systems replacement. Hawthorne Elementary, again, major building systems replacement. And a major building systems replacement bundle for Druid Hills Middle School, Laurel Ridge, Ward Ridge, and Chestnut Elementary Schools. For E-SPLOST 6, no projects were advertised or contracts awarded in the period. In terms of our budget and cost status, you may recall we've got the cost variance table, table 8 in the MSR, table 9 and 10A through 10H show the green highlights that indicate that all the SPLOST 5 construction project budgets are in good shape. In terms of status of our major construction projects, the Cedar Grove High School Auditorium is wrapped up, construction's wrapped up, we're finalizing punch list and putting together our final project closeout documentation. At Hambrick Elementary, you may recall the security vestibule is completed and fire sprinkler work will recommence in the summer, which effectively is now. Spoiler alert, the builder did start on taking ceilings down to get back to that fire sprinkler installation work. At Freedom Middle School, the security vestibule installation is complete, and the district did ask for a door into the reception area from an adjacent corridor, and that change order is in process. At Kittredge Magnet, for the gym HVAC project, we're waiting for delivery of the makeup air unit. At Redan High School Baseball and Druid Hills High School Baseball at Druid Hills Middle School. Druid Hills Middle, essentially complete. And at Redan High School, as of the end of this period, the press box replacement was ongoing. The irrigation system replacement had been completed. And the next move after the press box will be creating the ADA access roadway to the new restroom. At E.O. Miller Elementary, we're in the submittal approval process and preparing a project for construction. The Farrington Elementary, Salem Middle School, and Redan Middle School projects are all awarded for construction, and the builders are putting their submittal packages together and getting organized for construction. That includes basically laying out our plan for swing space for each of those facilities to try to minimize disruption to the campuses there. For security vestibules A, the good news is all installations are complete. That represents, as you may see there, Bob Mathis, Cedar Grove, Columbia Elementaries, also International Student Center, Rainbow Elementary, Wadsworth Magnet, and then Stevenson Middle and Stone Mountain High School. Division of Instructional and Information Technology is finishing up the access controls for the newly installed doors and vestibules. Security vestibules B, we had hoped to actually have more completed by now. Oak Grove Elementary, Vanderland, and Briar Lake Elementaries are complete, and we're waiting for material deliveries for Chestnut and Henderson, but Chestnut Elementary and Henderson Middle School. The good news is we actually do have the bullet-resistant glazing for those facilities, but the storefront just got delivered, spoiler alert, last week. So those projects will be relaunching as we speak. We expect to complete Group B in June, so we'll finally get those wrapped up. In terms of scheduled delays, this period, there were no new delays reported. And please remember, you can refer to Table 12 in the MSR for a listing of the previously reported delays. A request for compensation or basically claims, additional funding, none by the district vendors, architects, or builders. No change orders were approved in the month of April. And our project status summary for the month looks as you can see on the screen. I guess the big news here is last month we had 17 projects in design and 4 projects in construction procurement. And 7 of those projects have advanced to construction procurement. So now we've got 10 in design and 11 in construction procurement. We do have some photos to share. This is the security vestibule. Actually, it's a specific window or wall of the admin space at Stevenson Middle School. It was actually glass block originally, and we replaced the typical glass block with bullet resistant glazing, which was a bit of a deal, but it's done and it's secure. There's another look at the bullet resistant glazing in the appropriate frames. There's a look at some windows into the admin space that we had to swap out with bullet resistant glazing in the appropriate frames. That's pretty representative of the security vestibule work. At the Druid Hills High School baseball field at Druid Hills Middle, we're happy to report good progress there. You can see the visitors dugout and the press box in the background. Here's the home dugout, and that's actually storage and an office on the left-hand end of that. And then storage space behind the actual front of the dugout. Here's your safety netting at 40 feet and your new press box essentially completed. And the new fencing, you can see separating the new baseball field from the, when I say new, year and a half old turf and track. And that's a quick run through for progress. Would like to switch over to the actual MSR itself and get us caught up on our funding. For SPLOST 5, obviously no change. But for SPLOST 6, our receipts collected are now up to 114.3 million. And that's an increase of approximately 12.9 million from last period. And you can see against the projected forecasted receipts of 108.5 million, we're about 5.8 million above plan, which is good. And that's actually growing because we were 5.2 million above plan last period. So pretty good business there. In terms of SPLOST 5 breakdown, table 6, we're at about 288.3 million in expenditures. There's a breakout by phase, along with the current commitments against the budget of 630.3 million. And that approximately 280.3 million is 46% of the total budget expenditures for SPLOST 6. That's what I plan to share as a starting point. Kathy, I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Mel. Are there any questions for Mel in regards to the MSR report or anything that he just reported on?
Good evening. This is Lisa Wright. I had a question about your building systems replacement. Can you just expound on what that represents?
Yes, generally speaking, well, when we speak of building systems, typically we're referring to mechanical systems. For example, your HVAC system, heating, ventilating, air conditioning. Your plumbing is a system providing water and disposing of water or fluids in the building. Your electrical is a number of systems, including your lighting, your power. Your roof is a system, if you will. We call it part of the building envelope system. So your roof is actually a system, and each of those projects typically has a HVAC component, a roof component, and some projects have a fire sprinkler component. We use the table in the MSR to provide, I guess the best way to say it is a quick recap of what that scope is. You can always refer to it if you want to see a few more details. That would be your program information, for example. Let me see if I can share that real fast, just by way of reminder. Screen 2. So for example, we mentioned the Woodridge major building system replacement. You can see it here. It's described as HVAC replacement. And then in the table, if there's any additional details that we need to provide, we can do that here. A good example, another example might be your Laurel Ridge project, where we describe the emphasis on HVAC and the window replacement. And windows are a system, part of your building envelope system. So great question. We try to provide a little detail in the report so you can get a sense of what that scope is.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Any other questions for Mel in regards to the MSR report?
Madam Chair, I had a question about Table 8. I see there's a variance for about 147,000.
Pull that up for our reference, Daniel, if you don't mind. Yes, this has been on the books for a number of months now, technically out of the hands of operations to us. We're not exactly sure what finance and technology need to do to get that aligned. The budget for that project 40235 is fairly large, so it may be just an accounting or bookkeeping issue. Let me take it there so you can see it, 40235. It's one of a series of projects where they were implementing the financial systems with Munis. As you can see there, we've already committed over 15.5 million, and the expenditures essentially match. So it's probably a little more complicated than I can speak to, but we have asked those two divisions to take a look at that, Daniel, and do what they need to do to get those books balanced. So again, on a percentage basis, it's small, but it's money that we need to account for correctly. Yes, sir.
Mel, quick question there, or a follow-up question to that. Do you know when you asked them to look at that?
I have to go back to the records, Kathy, to be sure.
Okay.
We can rattle the cage, if you will, send in a tickler and ask them to.
Yeah, I want to see how long, because if that's been standing there for a while, then that's a concern.
I agree. We're not talking 2 cents here. We're talking 6 figures here. And if this has been an investigation, then somebody needs to provide some kind of accounting or explanation about this.
Yeah, Richard, do you have any insight or commentary on that from the district side?
No, I don't.
We'll ask. We'll definitely ask. Thank you very
Well,
much.
wait a minute. Mr. Hofstetler is on. Does he know anything?
No, I don't know. I don't know the specific details, but we'll dig in on that and find out.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for Mel in regards to the MSR report? Moving right along to the facilities maintenance report, work order report update.
All right, we have two tables to look at. The first table will show is this one. Oops. So since our last meeting on April 26th, we have 1,065 new work orders that have been opened. You can see the number here in the column open since 4/26. Of that 1,065, 26 are roof, 241 are HVAC. In that same time period, we have closed 1,132, 52 roof work orders and 200 HVAC work orders. Again, you can see the number by region. The other table is our 30, 60, 90-day open. You can see, so just to clarify, these three don't add up. 290, 228, 163 don't add up, obviously, to the 439. The 290 includes the 228 that have been open for greater than 60 days. And that also includes the number that have been open for greater than 163 days. Of those, 25 are roof, 56 are HVAC for greater than 30, 21 and 11 for greater than 60, and 15 and 4 greater than 90 days. Total 2,295 that are open. And you can see the numbers here, how many have been open for greater than 30, 60, and 90 days. And that is it. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. What is the purpose of this table if the numbers don't add up going across, and they obviously don't add up going down? So I don't understand the purpose of this table.
Those do add up going down to the total 1,764. This is to show how many, so the 290 would equal the difference between these two, but it's just to show how many have been out there for 163 days. I mean, I'm sorry, 90 days. How many have been out 60 days, 30 days, et cetera. This is the total number open in each of the regions. And again, those should 2295. Yeah, those do add up to 2295 there.
Okay, well,
It's just an aging. It's just an aging.
You just stated
summary.
that for region 1, using that as an example, that 163, 228, and 290 do not equal 439.
Correct.
Okay,
So the difference between 228 and 163 is 65. The difference between 290 and 228 is 62. And so if you add the 290 plus the 62 plus the 65, that gets you 417. And then that would indicate that there are 22 that are less than 30 days open. And you can do that. And it might be easier to see here with these. So the difference between the 30 and 60 days is 4. The difference between the 60 and 90 days is 6. So you add the 6 plus the 4 plus the 25. That means there are 35 that are either 30, 60, or 90 days open. And that would be 6 that are less than 30 days.
Okay. And again, the question still stands. It would seem to me that instead of you explaining that information, that would be what the table says. So it truly shows the breakdown of each of the aging process for the open work orders.
Okay. Any other questions? Oh, Sabrina, yes.
Hi, Richard. My suggestion was just going to be, and to make sure that I understand, you'll probably have to repeat it as a toddler for me. But on your previous spreadsheet, your other one is blocking it. So of the 290, 163 of those are greater than 90 days.
Correct.
So, okay. Can you also, in an aging schedule, also show what is still current? So you're 0 to 30, and then age it
Should be able to do that, yeah.
Yeah, age it kind of that way. Because my next question would have been, what's going on with the 163? Is it a supply shortage for a material?
And
or
it very well could be if it's HVAC related. We're still have some extremely long lead times on HVAC equipment, just in the industry in general, construction industry in general. Electrical components also, long lead times, things like that.
And in your analysis, does your policy or your procedure in reviewing this aging, if your team is providing it for you, is there an additional analysis or explanation for, 30, okay, we're kind of working on that, but anything maybe greater than 60 days that they need to provide what the issue is, just so that we make sure it's not staffing related, or, you can't really do anything like you were saying about the supply chain issue.
Right.
But
right.
that you're aware, and you could be aware, and I'm just asking. But you'll get asked.
Quite honestly, I'm not aware, because this isn't it's a facilities or a maintenance item. So I know that the director of facilities maintenance meets with his regional facilities managers, and they review the work orders, what the issues are on, I think it's a bi-weekly, I'm sorry, not bi-weekly, every other week basis. They have those meetings to just go over, so he can make sure that they're pushing on those. But I don't have the details. Actually, that director prints these reports out and hands them to me, or emails them to me.
As long as somebody is aware and possibly can provide a summary or stand prepared, because when you look at this, even if we don't open 30, 60 aging days, it looks like from row 9 that half of your open work orders are greater than 90 days. So even if we eliminated, the current, your 30, your 60, whatever your threshold is, it looks like half of your work orders, or 50% of your work orders are, a quarter.
Or 3 months old. Yeah.
And so I think that would, just from a performance metric tracking perspective, that might require explanation as to, because they're only going to get older. They're only going to age. And I know you have another spreadsheet, and I'll let you get to it. Just the story and how it's being shown isn't a good one. And it just may lead to more questions. And at minimum, the why. Why are 50%, because that's the headline, why are 50% of your open work orders greater than 90 days? What's going on? So
okay, I'll mention that to him.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
Those are some good questions, Sabrina, and thank you for that that information. Now, I would think that, can you go back to that spreadsheet, the age report? That without true analysis, what are specifically, what are the details for these? And I think that, going along with what Sabrina said, that more analysis is needed as to, okay, what type of work order is it? why is it, why is it being aged? So I think more detail and more analysis is needed. Are there any other questions or from the committee? Lisa?
Yes, my question is, I always ask about the staffing. How much of this relates to our staffing also?
I don't know. I don't know if this is, I don't believe it's staffing issue. I believe it's a supply chain issue. But I can ask that of the facilities maintenance guys as well.
Hello, this is Eric Hofstetter. Yeah, I can speak to some of this. And again, this is kind of getting off a little bit on the SPLOST advisory, but more or less, we meet weekly in the facilities maintenance to review, and then they week bi-weekly with individual managers. But every week we're drilling down on some of these. One of the issues why you see some of the high numbers is part of our implementation of the work ticket system, which you've come to hear about over the last few months. We had a couple glitches in there about closing work tickets, and some of our facilities managers whose role that is, some of their permissions weren't necessarily always up to date. So we've been working with IT to get these permissions solved. I don't have the particular date when this information was pulled. Richard, do you know when the information was pulled by chance?
Bobby sent this to me this morning.
Okay.
He either ran the reports yesterday or this morning.
Right. So there's a couple of things here at play, and it's part of the analysis. And obviously, we're going to drill down and really hit some of this. But some of it is about closing out work tickets. And that's why some of those that are in the high areas, and that is something that we are working on with our staff to make sure that they close these tickets so that we have a more accurate count. But sometimes they're left open until work can be verified. The other thing is towards the end of the year, we require a lot of our staff and school-based staff to go through the schools and to go ahead and submit work tickets before they leave. So sometimes you'll see an inundation of work tickets that will appear on the record, and then they get narrowed down through the summer. That's kind of a high level thing. Again, we'd have to really drill down and discuss each specific one of these. And there is a tend to be a priority. Now, the other piece of that is that staffing, I mean, some of that may play into it. It's not just staffing, though. It's also about procurement and working with vendors and our vendor capacity that we contract with to do some of the work that might be a little bit out of our reach, and just getting them on their schedule. So sometimes it goes a little bit further than that. That's not a specific answer, but those are some of the variables that sometimes goes into these numbers. But I know for a fact, because I am a part of it every week, we do meet with, and we do tour the facilities, and we do make sure that these numbers are basically reflecting on what's being seen and submitted to these work tickets. I hope that helps explain it some. But I also agree we can make this chart a little bit easier to read, and we'll work on that.
Well, I think it's a little bit more than making it easier to read, but it's providing more detail, because this, like I said, doesn't tell us anything. It's just a whole bunch of numbers in a spreadsheet. Now, one thing that we have come to the realization that we're spending money, E-SPLOST money, taxpayer money, to fund capital improvements, and we need to make sure that there's a process to maintain these capital improvements. And just looking at this is a concern, because if we have, items that are work orders that are open for 90 days plus, that's a concern.
Yes, and I agree with that. And that's why we're working to make sure that those numbers are more accurate. And they will fluctuate daily as some are closed out and others come on. And yes, part of our capital improvement program that we are adjusting to is to use those capital improvement funds in order to reduce the maintenance costs. And that includes updating items, even though they may be working, we go ahead and replace them where we can and where it makes sense.
Okay.
And we'll continue to work on that. But yes, this is a big piece that we do analyze weekly.
And this is a report that's coming out of the UNIS system?
Correct. This information is downloaded out of the Munis work ticket system that we recently converted to. And again, we're still implementing the full array of it. And we still have to train many of our school-based people. So some of these work tickets as well, you know, some of them might be anything from, you know, requesting that air conditioning be changed for late meetings, to such as simple as light bulbs needing to be changed. So we have to screen every one of these to kind of separate what are the maintenance tickets and what are things that may have just been done with good intention, but not really meet the qualifications of what we consider a maintenance work ticket.
Yeah,
So
and
some
that's
of the,
why I was saying that more detail is needed than just the numbers, just the aging report. We need to see more detail.
okay. And again, we could probably break it down. And one of the things that we are implementing in the Munis system is that so two things are occurring with the work tickets. One is we have to limit who can actually submit a work ticket. Because now it's more or less wide open, but we have a lot of transition. And with the transition of people at the school level, a lot of times we're not getting the actual work ticket information that we need, and then we have to go figure out what they are. So part of this is, and a large part of it is training and understanding, you know, what is a work ticket and what needs to go in. The other thing that we are working on in the system is categorizing them, anything from, as you see, roof, HVAC, we're trying to extend those out through things such as carpentry, electrical, lighting, plumbing. So that way we can kind of start seeing where our major systems and where the work needs to be done. And it also brings a little more oversight to our different maintenance teams and contractors in our skilled trade areas, so that we can help. If we need more staff to keep up, we can. So as we continue to implement this system, that's fully implementing it all the way, and that's what we're continuing to work on with IT.
And this is
So
Lisa. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, and I appreciate the questions and the feedback.
So my next question is, you said you depend on skilled outside contractors. If you had to just estimate, what percentage of the work are we relying on for outside skilled contractors to do versus our own staff that we have with the DeKalb County School?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. That's a loaded question too. So it's kind of hard to put a percentage on it, because it also has to depend on the kind of volume of work and the level of I guess, mechanical or electrical expertise. I mean, for instance, we outsource a large part of our mowing and just grounds. So that's largely in there. We are having to augment our custodial staff with vendors. We primarily do so at night. And again, those are staffing related, because it's very difficult to get and retain workers in those areas. But when we get into things like electrical, we have staff that can go and do the basic maintenance of electrical. But when you start talking about large projects, many times we will call in vendors who have better equipment and are skilled at being able to do it. So it really just depends on the job and what the problem is. And again, that can fluctuate. We do quite a bit of work in-house, but sometimes some of these mechanical systems or plumbing systems or electrical systems, sometimes we do have to go ahead and call outsource. And those are local contractors that we already have as approved vendors.
Now, remember in the previous meeting, we talked about the need to have that on-call skilled person available so we can reduce the time of wait to respond to some of these work orders. I'm just trying to wonder, what is the plan to address this? I know we talked about staffing a while ago. We talked about, your job fair was successful in finding competent staff, not just having staff, but competent staff. And we had mentioned before, I think Sabrina has suggested before about having those on-call people that we can, quickly rely on instead of using the current system as delaying some of our responses. So.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, any other questions in regards to the work order age report?
But he didn't answer mine. I guess what's the game?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss the question? I didn't know. Okay. Yeah. Can you repeat the question then? I'm sorry.
Okay. We have addressed, let me turn my computer back on. We have constantly had requests and conversations about, do we have enough staff to maintain, do we have enough skilled staff to maintain our buildings where we're not totally relying on outside contractors? And I remember Sabrina at one meeting suggested that, we have some on-call people that we can get in quickly to do certain things versus waiting on whatever. And my question is, what is the strategy going forward? Because I know you even just mentioned that for the higher skilled things, I guess you mentioned HVAC and other things, that you have to rely on outside skilled contractors. So my question is, what's the game plan planning forward, since we're now having this new system where we're supposed to be able to get more feedback, we'll have the training so we're not getting unnecessary work orders. But what is the game plan to reduce, the over 90 by addressing training, competent staff, like I said, what's the game plan on addressing it? Because this is not a new thing. Once we got a breakdown of the numbers, we were seeing that it was consistently, challenged, and it's not related to the supply chain. Some things were related to staffing, which is why I keep like, okay, so how do you feel about the staff? How competent is our staff? Do we need, or is our skill staff retiring and we're getting new people that don't have a skill set? I mean, I just want to know what the strategy is to address this concern, so that, like you said, we're not looking at numbers that can be alarming to other people who are not aware of the daily operations of DeKalb County.
Yes. Okay. So I think I know where you're going with this one now. Great question. And yes, it is something we talk about almost daily here. Yeah. Do we have vacancies? Absolutely. And where our vacancies normally lie are at some of the hard to fill positions. And those are right now HVAC, electrical, plumbing. Those qualified candidates are very difficult to find. And once we can get them, it's also retaining them. So do we continue to work on it? Yes, we continue to work with HR to recruit and attract and also provide competitive market benefits that will attract some of these candidates to come work for us. In the meantime, however, that is why we do contract out with local vendors of all sizes. We have small electrical, we have large electrical. And depending on the size, we're able to call them, and they're usually pretty responsive, usually within 24 hours. Now, once that is done, though, where we have to continue to work on it and get better at and improve is going back, verifying that the work is done, and then closing out these work tickets. So all the other aforementioned variables that you discussed, yes, supply chain is a part of it, staffing is a part of it, training is a part of it. Yeah, those are all the variables that go in there. The game plan is we're working with HR when it comes to staffing. We're working on the, all the benefits. And right now we have a salary and compensation study that is being done for the entire district. And our staff is actively participating in that. And we're awaiting the results of that study. It probably won't be for a few more months. That is being led by our Human Resources Division. And from there, maybe we are able to find and adjust new market strategies to attract those staff members. We're also looking at ways where we can make our procurement a little more efficient so that we can open up to more vendors in a timely fashion. Again, there are laws, there's policies involved in that, and we're working together with our finance and procurement division in order to find ways that, again, makes it a little bit easier to work within DeKalb County schools and a little more efficient to do so as well. I don't know if I hope I'm answering your question, or at least going in that direction.
Thanks for the try.
Okay, yeah, I think we really that's probably a separate stage we're really gonna have to drill down on. And I'd have to get some more study on that one to get into the actual details. I can just tell you those are the high level pieces that we're dealing with, though.
So can you please commit to follow up on that staffing issue, please?
Yeah, can you all email me though the exact that way I have it in my notes. I want to make sure that I can provide you with the information.
No, the minutes will reflect that.
Okay. All right. We'll see what I can get for you there on there. I can't tell you it's a continuous work in progress, but I can tell you where we're working on and what the strategy is going forward, if that's the question.
Okay. Lisa, are you kind of good?
I told you, I'll take whatever. I just want some more follow-up to be more specific about, like, if you say vacancies, out of the number of schools, how many are vacant with supervisories, or who can do a little bit of everything versus just HVAC, since we have so many schools getting HVAC systems replaced or updated because of the funds that we got to update some of our major building investments. So I just like more specific information about the staffing. Meaning how many vacancies out of how many. So is it 50 out of 200 or whatever? And then, you said the high skilled, like I said, just a strategy of, okay, how you address the high skilled people, because it's an ongoing thing, I know, but what's changing? And just keep us abreast, that's all.
Absolutely. Got it. Thank you.
All right. So I think we beat that dead horse. Mel, are you going to go back to sharing your screen, sharing the agenda? Thank you, sir. Let's see. Who went to Lisa, I think you went to the April Board of Education meeting, correct?
I went to the May.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good experience. During this board meeting, the chief financial officer, or whoever his title was, presented the budget for 2024. And so it was good to be there for the time that I was. It is a long, extensive day, so I definitely didn't my stomach was not prepared to stay for the full meeting, but it was a good experience. And it wasn't too many visitors, but it was good to see what was presented, and I recommend other board members to go there.
You mean other committee members?
Yes, I'm sorry, committee members.
All right, any questions for Lisa in regards to the Board of Education report? All right, going to number 10, new business, notification of upcoming community meetings and other events.
There are none.
Okay, 10B, update bylaws, and that is me. Our bylaws have not been updated in a couple of years, so I think that we need to have a subcommittee that will review our bylaws. If you are interested in volunteering for that subcommittee, please let me know. Send me an email or text me. I think everybody should have the contact sheet with that information on it. Any questions for me in regards to updating the bylaws? All right, unfinished business. 11A, review missing photo and biography for the website. Supposed to be done and turned in to Monica by the 14th. I know I have not updated mine If you've not done so, that includes, again, the photo, highlights of what, a bio that you want to share with on the website. If you would please send that to Monica as soon as possible. Any questions? All right. Collection recommendations from the meeting and follow-up matters for next meeting. I know I have about 4, maybe 5 items now with the information that the questions that Lisa had. We want to see more information on table 8, the $147 plus outage. Need for a breakdown of the age work orders, need more details and analysis on the age report for the work orders and staffing issues. What are the reasons for the aging of the work orders? And then the follow-up to the staffing questions that Lisa had. Did anybody glean anything else? All right. Moving right along to number 13, announcements. Any announcements for the good of the body? All right. Question, Eric, if you and Richard and Daniel can hang on afterwards, since we're going to end a little early, we need to chat.
Okay.
So next meeting
Yes,
is
ma'am.
June 28th, 2023. Please put it on your calendars. Just as I know I always get up on my soapbox to say this, but I am noticing that there are a lot of missing people, and the commitment when you were interviewed and you accepted the role that you would commit to at least an hour to 2 hours per month, and that's not a lot of time. So please, everybody, please make a concerted effort to make our meetings. It's very important that we, number one, have a quorum so that we can do our business. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm always in the posture of answering any questions. But if you get an email from me saying that we need to chat, there's a reason. All right, if there are no questions, enjoy your evening. Thank you for your flexibility from last week. If we have any graduates, any parents of graduates, congratulations to you, and best wishes to your scholar, and see you on June 28th at 6 o'clock.